Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to start out by saying that I'm honored to be here. I actually was touched and I resonated with a lot of your story, Gertrude. I watched your TED Talk and just how you're all about helping your community. That kind of leads into my whole story. My name's Karen Rico and I live in Austin, Texas. I've been there for the last 7 years. And I think a lot of people in their 20s, really throughout any point in their life, but especially their 20s, can really resonate to this. I think we just, as a society, especially here in the United States, put so much pressure and significance on making wealth and reaching status. And we think that's what's going to fulfill us and give us meaning. So that's kind of the path that I started on when I graduated high school. You know, that's the first time that it's up to you to go to college or what you want to do with your life. And your parents don't necessarily have a say anymore. So I was doing, I think the best way to describe it is like I was checking off the boxes is what I was doing. So I almost thought it was like a very logical textbook guide that I could follow when it was my time to become an adult. Like, okay, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get my degree, and then I'm going to get the corporate job, and then I'm going to find a boyfriend, and then I'm going to get married and get the white picket fence and have a family. And that's great. That's all I have to do. And then I'll be happy. So I think my first mistake in college was, rather than trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what interested me and what my passions were. And it's funny how, you know, in college, that's the time that you have to figure all of that out. But instead, what I focused on was, okay, well, what's going to help me make the most money? What's going to give me the most security? And then that's what I'll do. So it was kind of like taking the safe route, because that's what I envisioned. As I was saying, like, I'll just do what everybody else does to be happy. And if making money and having a secure job is what's going to make me happy, then easy peasy. So I majored in business and then I went into sales, and it was a great experience. I don't want to talk poorly on that. I just think where I went wrong with the whole thing was it wasn't necessarily aligned with who I am authentically. So now looking back at my 20s, my early 20s, and then leading up until a year ago where I decided to become an entrepreneur, I think, like, at the end of the day, I always knew this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, but it was easy to ignore that because, again, like, what did I know? I was so young in my early 20s. So I'm just going to listen to the adults, the people who have it all figured out. So looking back, I can see how there were so many little whispers, and then throughout the years, they got louder and louder. So I went from being excited, graduating college, to enter into adulthood and start my dream life, to then slowly over the years, losing myself more and more. It started with, okay, well, this isn't necessarily the job I want. to then, so that's how I started to lose myself. And then it got to the point where I, I felt suffocated and trapped in a box in a way. And the good thing is I got into therapy. I always did therapy throughout my life as a kid, which I'm so grateful for, because then that opened me to the idea of it in adulthood, where I was like, okay, I don't know how I got here or why I'm here, because I thought I was doing everything right, but I feel suffocated and like I can't breathe. So let me just go to therapy and figure it out. And I had no idea that what was causing that was this path that I took to checking off all the boxes, because that wasn't a doubt in my mind. In my mind, I was like, oh, I'm doing everything right that I'm supposed to be doing. So it was kind of hard to, first of all, acknowledge that and then accept it. But at that point, I was like, I've been following society standards for so long that I don't even know at this point who I am anymore or what my interests are. So what I call, or like the easiest way I can explain everything I went through in therapy, was shedding off the onion layers one by one to get to the core of who I am. And that's what I like to call my authenticity, like the core of the onion. But all the layers that I had added on top of the core of the onion, are all of the societal conditions that are placed upon us. And it's not just societal by like the media advertisements always telling us that we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we don't smell right, here's a perfume, wear this, or now here's Botox because you don't look young enough. It's so much noise constantly telling us we're not enough. And then on top of that, it's our religion, the culture we grew up in. There's so many outside opinions trying to shape us, and there is beauty in that. But I think this therapeutic process of peeling off all the layers is what kind of helped me go through each conditioning pattern that I had, and then realize, okay, is this something that I want to adopt now into my life as an adult and something that I value and I want to stick by, or is it time to let go of it? And letting go of it is not the easiest process, because this is what has shaped me. It's all my habits, my deep-rooted belief systems that I live by on a day-to-day basis. So it was really hard. But anyway, the whole point of all of this is it led me to becoming an entrepreneur. I got to the point where I was like, I don't know what else I want to do with my life, but I do know that taking the safe route is actually making me feel really unsafe and unstable, which is the opposite of what I thought. So let me give myself an opportunity to explore my interests, like what I should have been doing in college. Let me just take a step back and try to do it now. And it seemed really scary, but the reason why I'm talking about it now and sharing my story is because the only scary part about it was the mindset shift that I had to go through to just take that leap of faith and step into the unknown, because I didn't know. For all I knew is, okay, I'm risking the 6-figure income, what everything looks like on paper is the safe route. I'm risking and throwing it all away. And for what? Like, I don't even know what I want to pursue. So that was really the only scary part, was in my mind, working up the courage to say, okay, we're going to risk it because you're worth it, Karen, and you deserve to explore what it is that you want in life. And then as soon as I allowed myself to do that, it's like the answers came to me overnight. And so what I realized is life is actually so simple. We overcomplicate it way more than we have to. And a lot of people say, when you're trying to reach a goal, you got to figure out how you're going to get there, and then work backwards in order, go step by step. But I almost say do less, because it's our mind that stresses out, freaks out for no reason. But if we are able to just relax and just set our intention and our focus on, here is what I want to do. So in my case, okay, I'm leaving my career. I want to find a new, fulfilling, authentic career that's aligned with my authenticity, whatever that means. And then just let the universe bring you opportunities And it's crazy how much easier and simpler life is that way. So the scary part, as part of the mindset shift, is just allowing yourself to be authentic. So what I've come to realize over the last year is I am so passionate about manifesting. I ended up publishing a book. It's called The Dream Body Manifesto. And it covers a lot about my unique approach to reaching goals. So rather than taking the logical step and saying, okay, here's step by step how I'm going to get to it, my approach is, first of all, let's look at why you even have that goal, because what are you trying to reach? Like, are you also checking off the boxes, or is it something that you truly want? And what's stopping you from getting there? A lot of times we're actually lacking confidence, and that's what stops us from achieving our goals, or we don't believe that we're worthy of it. So that's what I mean about things being way simpler than they are. It's a lot of mindset work. So that's what the book is about. So it's not just about achieving your dream body and becoming confident in your body. It's my story that I use to share how, like, here are the practical tools, and here's how anybody else can adopt them in their life to achieve whatever goal they want.
Karen, listening to you speak is like music to my ears. You know, I love people who have the ability to manifest and who love to teach others how to be in flow, is what I feel you're describing.
Yes.
When we're not efforting, we're not going up the stream, you let the current take you to where you're supposed to go. But that's a very difficult thing for most people to learn how to do and let go of the oars, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your story, and this will probably help unpack how you learned how to do this. Tell us about that pivotal moment in time when you realized that you were living a life that didn't align with your true desires. What prompted you to make a change? There must have been a day where you said enough is enough.
Yeah. So it all kind of slowly built up, and I kept ignoring the signs. I think first I was dealing with a lot of stress, then it led to anxiety, then depression. And I was actually on vacation in LA. I was staying in Venice Beach. So I was so relaxed. And that's kind of when I had the moment. The last company that I was working for was fintech. So with the way the economy's been going the last 2 years, they weren't really thriving. So I was a part of their layoffs, and I was out there, and that was kind of the moment where I was like, I'm not going to apply for any other jobs. Like, how much longer am I going to keep going down this road? I already feel suffocated. I've already reached depression, which I never thought I would. I thought I was like untouchable. So yeah, it was that moment where I was like, the way how peaceful I feel right now at the beach does not at all reflect how I feel in my day-to-day life. So it's time to give myself this opportunity to try to find this inner peace.
Yes. And so many people keep on going. Know they're in the
Yeah.
wrong place, but they keep on going. They keep trying to fix what can't really be fixed. So your journey from conforming to societal expectations to embracing your authentic self is an inspiring thing to do. Can you share some of the challenges that you faced during this transition?
Oh, of course. So many challenges. One thing I'll never forget is one of my sales directors early on in my career said, Karen, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to fail a lot. So I just see them as hurdles to get me to where I'm going. But I mean, where do I begin? I think the scariest one and the first hurdle was, as I was saying, just taking that leap of faith into stepping into entrepreneurship. I didn't even know, actually, when I was at the beach and I was like, I'm not applying to any more jobs. I didn't even know that I was going to be an entrepreneur yet. So it was deciding that that's what I wanted to do, and then just waiting for new ideas to come to me through my intuition, which is very scary. And then now that I've been figuring out how to become an entrepreneur, it's just learning every day through failure. Like, recently, but the cool thing about being in the flow state is that this is all not just helping me grow my business, but it's growing me as a person. So it's all integrated into my life and it's not like separate anymore. Like here's my career and then here's my personal involvement. But yeah, a recent challenge was I hired an advertising agency and they wanted to change my messaging a lot and they wanted me to quantify manifesting, which I kind of found unethical. I was like, I can't guarantee somebody's weight loss results with manifesting. Like that's up to them. I can't tell them how many pounds exactly they're going to lose. So I mean, I blew through like $6,000 in 1 month from hiring them. But what I learned from that was I actually saved a lot of money and time in the long run because I really just need to trust myself is what I learned. Like they don't I've just been trialing and erroring, trying to figure out what resonates the most with my target audience. They didn't know either. They also were just trialing and erroring. So rather than paying somebody else to figure it out for me, I can just trust myself and trial and error on my own and save money.
I love that. Now, the Dream Body Manifesto is a powerful title. What does the concept of Dream Body mean to you? And how does it relate to your journey of self-discovery?
That's a really good question because before I manifested my dream body, I didn't realize how insecure I was and how I was desiring a dream body because I thought that would bring me fulfillment and confidence. On the outside, I'm outgoing and I'm extroverted. So I thought I already was really confident. But then I started the manifesting process and I asked myself, why do I want a dream body? Like, why am I not secure and confident enough with myself the way that I am right now? That's when it hit me. Oh, I have these deep rooted insecurities from childhood that I've been carrying with me all the way every day into adulthood.
Yes.
So now what I view as the Dream Body Manifesto is the best version of myself who actually is confident and is no longer carrying insecurities with her and letting them define her.
I love that. And you know, when you say dream body, we're talking about the physical body, correct? That's the kind of first impression you get. But when I listen to what you've just said, there's layers to that. It's not just what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside as well.
Exactly.
Beautiful. So your podcast is called Balancing the Bullshit, tackles themes of personal growth and self-discovery. How do you approach these topics and how do you hope listeners take away from your show? What do you hope that they will take away?
So I approach these topics by looking at all the times in my life where, as I was saying earlier, like entering adulthood in your 20s is so confusing and it's almost like life slaps you in the face. So when I'm thinking of topics for the podcast, I think of, okay, what would have helped little Karen with things like realizing like, oh, you're chasing money or success or career, but really maybe if you were just secure enough with yourself, like if you were aware of your creative talents and your passions, then you wouldn't need to chase anything outside of you. Yes. And it's not just that, there's so many different things in my life that have helped me grow. So just anything that would have helped little Karen grow is the kind of speakers that I then bring on. Like I've had psychiatrists, life coaches, therapists, psychic mediums, anybody involved like in the self-help world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm all about.
I love that.
Yeah.
So the idea of tuning into one's intuition is central to your story. How did you learn to trust your inner voice, especially when conflicted with societal norms or expectations?
So it's not even that there's anything to learn. It's just the scariest part of what I was talking about, the mindset shift of giving yourself the courage to listen to the little whispers. Mm-hmm. And it seems really confusing at first, like, what's your intuition? How do you know if it's talking to you? but it's just those thoughts that kind of keep coming up and up. So for example, going back to my corporate America experience where I had those little whispers like, this isn't right. This isn't what you want to be doing. It's actually stressing you out. It was hard to listen to that because, as I was saying, on paper, it seemed like the logical and the right thing to do. So it's how you get better at listening to your intuition is by growing more courage to step away from like the societal expectations and the logical things on paper and taking the risk to listen to the whispers within you. And then the more that you do it, the easier that it gets. And the more that you just stay inside of your body rather than staying outside listening to all the noise. Like it gets easier the more and more that you listen to yourself.
So it's almost like a muscle where the more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more you use it, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So can you share a moment when following your intuition led to a significant breakthrough or a revelation in your life or your career?
Yeah, even right now with my entrepreneur journey, I actually had forgotten how creative I used to be as a kid. I danced for my entire childhood, and it's little things that I took for granted. Like I loved painting and scrapbooking. I thought that was just what every other girl did. It's like my interests. I almost didn't give them the credit that they deserve.
Right.
And so when I decided, okay, I'm not going to apply to any other jobs, I had this small little whisper. First, it was, you should write a book about manifesting. And it was a very therapeutic process and it felt really good. And then I had another little whisper, you should create a manifesting course and then the podcast. And I had no idea why I was creating any of these things or where I was going with them. Like the book was the first thing I did and I wrote it and I was like, okay, now what? Like, so it was just having to wait. And when the next whisper came along, I just had to act on it. So it's a lot of like being in the unknown. But now that it's been a year, it all makes sense. I can see how I'm building my personal brand. It's all about manifesting, which is what I'm passionate about. And it's a great outlet to explain to everybody how I want them to be their authentic selves.
Now, many women struggle with self-doubt and fear when it comes to pursuing their passions. What advice would you give to someone who feels trapped by societal expectations, but is hesitant to make a change?
Yeah, I get it. I think every single woman goes through this, which is why I'm now trying to encourage everybody. My advice is to listen to the little whispers, and say you're in a bad relationship and you think there's a logical reason for why you have to stay in it. Maybe they're providing for you financially or you're just scared. You can very easily talk yourself out of it. It's your ego that's afraid of changing. And our egos, even though we're in miserable situations, they feel safer to stay in that miserable situation rather than to step out in the unknown, because that could risk getting into an even worse situation. But trust me, I promise you, if you deep down feel like you're not in the right place, just give yourself the opportunity to leave. You don't even have to have a backup plan of where you're going next. It's just baby steps. Take the first step to leave, and it's going to clear up so much headspace for you to then be able to think, and you'll figure out where you're going to go. Like everything in life is figure outable. So my advice is just give yourself the opportunity, as scary as it is. I promise it'll work out.
They say that everything you want is on the other side of fear, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm. So your journey is one of resilience and self-love. How do you prioritize self-care and maintain a positive mindset, especially during the challenging times?
So it's a daily practice that it's become for me. Aside from therapy, I meditate every day for 20 minutes, and that helps me continue to tune out the noise. That way I can listen to my intuition and just stay peaceful. I also journal every day I do 3 pages a day, and it's just to dump all of my thoughts. So it's another method of getting out all of the noise and just coming back to being centered and grounded, and also getting in tune with my intuition, because a lot of wisdom comes out there when I go back and read pages. I'm like, oh, wait, the answer has been written down here this whole time. It's crazy how our intuition guides us.
Yes.
I also run every week and I do yoga. So I alternate between the two every day. And similar thing, this helps me detoxify, get rid of all the noise and junk in my body and just come back to being centered and grounded. And then I also cook as a form to relax. I'll do it about 4 times a week. And I have creative outlets. So I'll either do like pottery once or twice a week, or I'll paint, or even my podcast has been a great creative outlet, but just like a form of expressing yourself and just getting yourself to sit down, tune out all the noise. It strengthens that creative muscle within you, which I need to be an entrepreneur.
I love it. So my last question for you is, looking back on your journey, what message do you hope to convey to other women who may be struggling to embrace their true selves and pursue their dreams?
If you're struggling to pursue your dreams or even just embrace yourself, it's because you're not being authentic. It's because of the same thing that I went through, where you've let go of who you are because you decided to adopt all the societal norms and expectations of us. So what I hope women receive from my messaging through my book and my podcast and social media is to find your authentic self again. And you can do that by listening to your intuition.
Sounds easy, but it is not easy. So I take it you are supporting women and offering coaching as well?
Yes, I had a course. It's actually not for sale right now. I stopped the sales last month, but if they purchase my book, it pretty much has everything that the course had, or they could also listen to the podcast.
So where can people get your book, Karen?
On Amazon, it's an ebook. Just type in The Dream Body Manifesto by Karen Rico, and it'll pop up. And then the podcast is Balancing the Bullshit.
Absolutely awesome. Karen, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you, talking to you. I love your ideas. The power of manifestation is really worked for me in my life. So I hear everything you're saying, but the fact that you've packaged it and you're making it easy for other people to do the same, I think is really a gift. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle brings you stories from women from all over the world to uplift, inspire, and energize you. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And bye for now. Thanks again, Karen.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making